fans, with us today, he is the owner, operator, mastermind behind Support Your Local Street Racer and one of the baddest promoters in the no prep game, coming to us from Louisville, Kentucky. Ladies and gentlemen, I get to you happy.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
How's it going, my man?
Doing well. Been looking forward to doing this with you, coming on and chatting.
Absolutely. We've been definitely looking forward a lot more, I think, because it's been about 2 years. I've been dying to get you on here, just with our schedules and stuff. It's tough. And we're honored and glad to finally get you here on, the first guest of 2023.
That's awesome.
Do we got some things to talk about. But before we do, we're going to dive into a little bit of your life, learn a little bit about you. And then, of course, we're going to have some fun questions along the way. Are you ready to get started, my friend?
I'm ready, man. Let's roll.
All right, Happy. Tell my fans and listeners out there just a little bit about how you got your start in the no prep world in the racing scene.
It was like 97, started street racing locally. I started out in motorcycles. Motorcycles was really big here in Louisville. So got into the street racing world and bikes, and then slowly, I've always been big, and we hustled back in the day because everybody was like, oh man, he's big, fat dude. He's not going to go anywhere on a bike. Well, my bikes would hook, and we had them set up to where they would hook on the street really, really hard. And I probably went 4 years undefeated on the street. So I done really well with that. Then I switched over into the cars, and since 2001 or so, we've just been thrashing on the cars ever since. We traveled the country even back then too. We were actually going out to Texas and Oklahoma before there was even cash days. So I've been in this world a long time, but I stayed really underground. I didn't want people to know who I was, what I did. I'm just now coming out to light. The last couple of years, that's probably when you heard of me.
Right. Yep.
I was really in the underground world. I was very secretive about what I did, where we went, where we was racing, what we was doing. But now it's time to come out and tell my story.
So now were you more, so to say, not more or less no prep racing, maybe grudge racing? And that's kind of a little bit that kind of kept you a little bit.
That's really how we started. We would set up stuff because back in the day, there was no Facebook, there was none of that, but we had forums. And each town would have their own local forum about racing. So we would hop on DFWSS's forum and say, hey, if we're coming down this weekend, we've got a car that sets like this. Does anybody want to do something? We mostly would unload, run for a couple $1,000s, load back up, we'd head home. Because back then there wasn't any no prep racing. We were just street racing. We were just illegal street racing. So that was really where it all started for me. And then this no prep world has just taken off the last few years. So
yeah, I can agree with you on that. Definitely how we've got our feet wet in the last few years, racing being a part of my life since I was a newborn, basically growing up in the roundy round world and then transferring over. I still have the love for the roundy round. I bring a lot of those guys on here as well. But I got to ask you this, Happy. Tell me one thing that you love about it and one thing that you hate about it.
Both of them's actually about the same reason, but different things. The biggest thing I do love about it's the people. The community in it's amazing. I've met some of the greatest people in the world. Some of my best friends are into it and do it with me, and every weekend I get to travel with them. But on the same token, the people also I hate. There's groups of people that just kill it in the real streets, people that kill it at some of the grudge events, people that kill it at the no prep events. So it's a love-hate relationship. But I'm in a little tight group, and I run with a certain group of people, and we're super, super tight and close, would help out anybody.
Yeah, I could speak for that. Definitely one of the best groups out there, in my opinion. A group of fellas, and you know who I'm talking. Yep. They take their shirt off their back for just about anybody, the right person, and that's one thing that I love about it. And of course, there's no reason for me to say I'm bringing you on here to shine the light on you, because the light doesn't need to be shined on you. You're out there enough. You're well, accepted in every community out there. And once again, you always are doing anything and everything for the sport to not just grow it, but to make it better for when we can. And that's why we love having people like you on our show. But I got to ask you this. Let's travel back into 2022 for a second here, Happy. Tell my fans and listeners out there, out of all the traveling and races that you attended, and we know that's a lot, what was your favorite one for 2022?
Um, Honestly, the race that we just now did too at the Pad Wars. It's illegal. It's real streets. BJ and all them guys down in New Orleans are some of the best dudes out there. Um, that's probably my passion is the street. I love the no prep world, but my passion is in the street. As far as event though, Warren Woods is, and even though I put on events, I'm a
Right.
promoter myself. I put on events, but Jeff has something at Warren Woods that's just irreplaceable, and you can't reproduce it. It's amazing.
And I can 100% agree with that. Popping my cherry this year, and I can
Yeah,
guarantee you we'll be back for 2 times this time here in 2023. That's for damn sure. But
that's
all right,
awesome.
keeping things going here. I want to switch up the gears here just a little bit. Keep it in the racing world, but I'm going to ask you a fun question. How about this? You can pick one spot, front, back, street, wherever, but you got to race either Callie Nate, Ryan Mitchell, Brandon Mort, or Billy the Kid. Who you picking and what you picking?
Uh, I would probably pick. I would pick Callie Nate, and I would do it in the street because I know that's where he comes from. He's a gangster, and if I'm gonna race somebody of that caliber, to me, that if I had a chance to knock somebody off, we're great of friends too. But he would be the one, that would be a chip out of my block. Would
Absolutely
be
agree.
to outrun him on the street. I mean, and I don't take nothing away from any of the other guys, but to me, and I look up to all those guys, even though some of them's younger than
It,
me and are out there. I look up to Billy. He's young, but what he's doing,
he's very smart.
crazy.
And I
Very,
kind of threw
very
that
smart.
group at you in particular order for a reason. Because if you look at it, nothing against any of them, but Mark's really good on a lot of the track stuff.
Oh yeah, killer on front side.
Same with Ryan Mitchell. He can do both. But
Yep.
Billy and Callie Nate, they're pretty good on the street. Callie Nate, if you had to ask me for 2022, I think he was the small tire racer of the year. That's just my opinion. But, that's just because he can travel from West Coast to East Coast and hang with anybody. And he's proven
Yep.
it this last season. And I can't wait to see what we got going forward. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Let's keep some more fun ones going. How about this one, Happy? If there was ever such a thing called walk-up music for when you're about to go race, like you have at the baseball games or whatnot, what would be Happy's walk-up music as he pulled up to drag?
Um, right now I'm into a big phase of Dolph. So right now, like today, it would definitely be something from Dolph. That new song that he just released, "Love for the Streets," that just that one hits home to me. That's a badass song. Even though he's gone and passed, that song will live forever with me. I listen to a lot of Kevin Gates. I'm big into rap, so I listen to a lot of Kevin Gates. But
All right.
Dolph
So,
right
so it
now,
sounds like to me you're gonna have that starting line crunk as you're about to whip some butt. That's just
yep,
my opinion. That's the way I'm looking
yep,
at it or picturing it in my mind. All right, just a
for
couple
sure.
more left here for you. Before I turn the tables over here to Happy, we're going to talk a little bit about what he's got coming up here in 2023, plus where you can find his awesome support your local street racer stuff at. So we'll get right to that here in just a second. Just a few more here. I got to ask, this is a burning question. A lot of the promoters are talking about it, Happy. I got to get just a little bit of your picking from it. Is booking races on top of each other really a big deal?
To me, it depends on how far away you are from each other, but it's almost impossible. We have 52 weekends. There's only 30 or so that we can use for racing. And with there being estimated 400 races this season, they're going to be on top of each other. It's just part of it. There's nothing, you try, people say, well, I had mine out first. It doesn't matter. People's already got their dates picked. It really doesn't matter. people are going to go where they want to go. People are going to go to the promoters that they trust, that put up the money, that's no bullshit, and that's the way it is.
And that's 100% the way I look at it as well. I could say this, the more the merrier. It's the more pickings, but you're always going to have those racers that are going to look to see who's going to be there and how much of an advantage they might have over that field, no matter where or when the race is.
Exactly.
And you could book out for the next 4 years. That's still going to happen no matter what. It's just part of the racing scene. It's always going to be part of the racing scene. I don't think there's a problem in it. The more the merrier, booking on top of each other to do it spitefully. Yeah, that might be a different thing, but it was at one point a dying thing. And here we are talking about it, and it's only getting bigger, better, and badder. And they're only adding more stuff to the entertainment lineup there on TV. So I think it's cool. That's just my opinion.
Yep, it's huge. And like you say, also, it gives a diverse places to race for these people. And some guys, there's guys that'll dodge the gangsters, but then there's other racers that want to only race with the gangsters. So they're going to go over here. And then there's guys that's like, oh man, Brian Mitchell, Callie, Nate, Billy, all them's going here. Hey, I may sneak over here and try and win this $3,000, $4,000, $5,000.
Or the guys that only stay on the East Coast, that rumor too. It is what it is, and it's always going to be like that. You just you got to pick and choose where you want to go make the most money, in my opinion. That's the way it should be. All right, one last big one here. How about this? If you could change anything in the no prep game right now, what would it be?
Ooh. The biggest thing to me is seeing these cars show up with no front ends. I would love to see the cars look like a car. I cannot stand these lawnmower looking contraptions pulling up to the starting line. I'm into car racing. I'm into drag racing because I love cars. I don't like seeing these cars that are built around no front ends. They can't even put headlights on them. That's terrible to me. So for everything in 2023, for me, you must have a front end.
I can agree, especially when it comes down to a track that has no lights or a street that's not well lit. A lot of those cars are strapping light bars. Come on,
I've seen them with flashlights duct tape.
Yeah, because the first time that car wrecks, that's going to be the first excuse. And it's just, one thing I hope that changes coming into 2023, if you was to ask me, excuse me, is safety. I know everybody stresses on it, no matter where the race is or what's going on. It can't be stressed enough. That's just the way I look at it. Every time they strap up, no matter if it's a grudge race or if it's a shootout, it needs to be stressed and it needs to be taken care of. And that's just, for the fans' perspective, the way I look at it, because I want to keep watching this. I don't want this to be ruined because guys can't get out of the way and they want to line up on the sidewalk, an inch away from the car or past where they should be, all the negatives. We know them. I just wish that some people could get that under control. I know it's a tough thing, but hopefully by the end of 2023, it's something that we can kind of high five about. That's the way I look.
It's hard. And even, on the street, we really try and police that. And it's so hard. I mean, like last weekend, BJ would stop all the racing and would make people get back. But I bet we had 3,000 people down there.
Yep.
And when you get that many people on a 8th mile stretch of road, you're standing on top of each other. I mean, it was like an ant farm at some times. I mean, we were just packed in there and there was nowhere people could go, but anything could have happened. I know what I'm signing up for, but a lot of the spectators really don't. And they put
the newbies. I say the newbies, the ones that are wowed for the first time. Sometimes those races shouldn't be the first race you go to. That's just the way I look at it,
There's people sitting down on the curb at the 60-foot mark, sitting down.
The kids,
and then the kids. There were some kids behind me, and I didn't know who their parents was. Obviously, I don't want to say, "Hey, kids, please back up. It's not my place." But I told them, "Hey, please, y'all get behind this vehicle. I know you want to watch." But they were young. They was probably 5, 6, 7 years old. I look at my little man. When we go street racing, he's with me, but he's not out there. He knows where to be.
Yep. He's out of the way. He knows what's going on. Shout out to Pac-Man. Hope you get to watch this sometime. All right, just a couple left here before I turn it over. I got some more fun ones. This is the old famous question here on the E's and B's. Make sure you guys check us out each and every Friday, wherever you listen to your podcast at. Don't forget about Saturday mornings, Picks and Gravy, presented to you by E's and B's Podcast on YouTube. We pick each and every Saturday and Sunday, all the games for all those bettors out there. All right, Happy, I got to know. You're having breakfast with any race car driver or celebrity out there. Who you having it with and what you having?
Oh man, you're catching me off guard with these. um, I'll tell you what, and I do it often. It would be Limpy. To me, he's the OG, the originator. He's the king of the streets. He's my best friend. He's my brother. We're both in the brotherhood. I would definitely be having biscuits and gravy. But to me, people look up to people and never get a chance to meet them. I've been looking up to this guy for 30 years, and now he's my best friend, and it's amazing to me. So to be able to eat with him on a regular, I would still, if I had somebody to pick, I'm gonna holler at Limpy, and me and him's gonna go grab breakfast.
That's awesome. I hope one day us three could sit down and do that. That would be awesome. And that's what I love the most about this sport is you said it right there. You know, it's a small brotherhood, but it's a brotherhood and it's a very cool thing. All right,
Yep.
one last fun one here for you. How about this? The movie of your life's coming out this weekend. Who's playing you and what's the name of it?
Oh man. Obviously it'd have to be something about the streets. Um, I don't know there. That one's tricky. It would have to be something like titled King of the Streets or
Okay.
something.
Okay. We'll roll with that. King of
It
the
would have to
Streets.
be it
Who's
would have to
playing
be
you?
something. Man, that one's tough. I feel like I'm a badass and there's not many actors as badass as me.
I got one for you. How about this? Vin Diesel. Eh?
Yeah, and he's actually
He
played the
resembles
part. Yeah, well, he's played the
and he's
part
played the part. Yeah, yeah.
of, so and actually people don't actually know that Fast and Furious actually comes from the brotherhood that I'm in. So
Nice.
the very first one was
It
there
all,
was there
it
was
all
stuff.
comes
Yep,
around.
yep.
Absolutely.
It was kind
Awesome,
of cool.
awesome stuff. All right, last one I want to ask you here before I turn it over to you. This is the old famous question. I know it's going to be a tough one, but Happy, when it's all said and done, what do you want the support your local street racers legacy to be?
Uh, hmm. I would want people years from now to be able to just to look back on the shirts, the website, everything we do for racing, and just know that we tried doing it the best we possibly could and the safest way we possibly could do it. Um, we surrounded ourselves with great people and to continue to do the same thing. I'm building this brand for Pac-Man, my 7-year-old, and he will follow my footsteps in the brotherhood. He will also own Support Your Local Street Racer as a business. Um, and he'll continue it on. And I want him to learn the best way to promote these races, the best way that I feel is the best way. Everybody's got their own best way and their own thing, but I feel like I've learned a lot from Limpy, and I use him all the time. He's been doing it the longest, and I feel like the way he does things is best. And I follow in his footsteps, and I want Pac-Man to follow in mine. And so I just want everybody to be able to look back and just think that was a badass group of dudes. We're often imitated, we're not duplicated. And we're real street racers. We really do it.
Yep,
So
absolutely, absolutely. That's why we brought you on here. You know, it's the real ones, and we love the real ones, and we greatly appreciate all the support that we get from you, Limpy, everybody out there on the No Prep side. It's awesome, and that's what our door is always open for. It's because we want to bring you guys on here and shine a little bit of light on other things than just the negative or the positive of the racing world. Before we get you out of here, though, I'm going to turn it over to you here real quick. How about you tell the fans and listeners out there a couple races you got coming up for the 2023 season and where they can find Support Your Local Street Racer at?
perfect. My first one of the year that I'm doing on my own is April the 1st, April Fool's Day. It's at Decker Brothers in Litchfield, Kentucky. It is Cash Days of Kentucky. It'll be number 4. We will do one in the fall, be number 5. We're going to keep continuing to do them. July 7th and 8th at KD. Me and Limpy's doing Cash Days at the Hill again. That'll be a 2-day event, awesome event. we'll be set up at numerous races throughout the year. I know last year I think we done 33 events. So this year we're going to try and do more. Like I said, we've already been to the pad last weekend, and we may be going to a race this coming Saturday. Turbo John's doing one in Knoxville, Tennessee. So we possibly are going to roll in there Friday
Athletes
night, get
Brawl.
set up,
Check it out.
and and we're going to get started, getting the year started early, and going to pound it hard this year.
Awesome. Awesome stuff. I'm looking very, very forward to catching up with you here later on this season. Us here at the E's and B's will be traveling out to a couple races this year, guaranteeing you War in the Woods, but we're going to try to do a couple others. So we can't wait for that. You know, we always got your support, and you're back here at the E's and B's. Happy. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this for us. And until next time, once again, coming to us from Louisville, Kentucky, it's one of the baddest promoters in the game. Happy. Thank you so much, my man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. Everybody check us out at supportyourlocalstreetracer.com.